Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia. Welcome back. So I've got a few things on the table here that I'll open this video up with. So I traveled for work this week up to southern Pennsylvania. And when I travel, I always do some Google searches to find hobby shops that are, along my line of travel, either going up or going back. And this week, there's 3 hobby shops that I had not been to that were, within like a mile of the highways that I was already traveling. So I made some stops. So I got some pretty good stuff. So the 2 items up here I got at Mario's Trains. Again, we're looking in sort of the northwest area of Virginia, up around the West Virginia, Pennsylvania border area. Got some nice static grass pull apart 2mm that's already, in the pads. So I'll try this in a couple of areas here. And then I got this one, a DC, 262, like a little prairie, Pennsylvania, that actually has smoke. So I'm going to probably run this at some point on this video here. I'm going to take that out and run it. I always wanted to get one that's a smoker, and this is DC, so I can have some fun with that on my switching layout. Then, a little bit farther down the road, kind of heading a little bit more towards the Harrisburg area, but still pretty close to Mario's Trains, Loco Joe's Hobbies. So these items here I picked up from there. A nice Tichy Train Group wheel car. I can put that together, and that can go over near the maintenance shop on the HO scale. Nice bag of barrels. I can put those over next to the fuel depot. And then this O-scale crossing shanty, from Bar Mills. I won't necessarily use it as a crossing shanty, but it should look good in that central area where I'm going to have, water tank and some coaling and, some other small service buildings. It should fit in that area pretty good. Then today on the way back, which actually coincided well with my lunch hour, stopped at the train depot in Manassas. Nice little shop there. Picked up, a little gondola for Pennsylvania. Picked up some O-scale tulips. These will go in different areas of the layout. They continue to add color and textures. Some nice flowers. I'll find a little spot for those. And then, some foreign road power to run on my HO scale once in a while. So, Athearn Blue Box, New Haven, A and B unit, F7 I think, like $40 for the set. So powered A, unpowered B, really nice, KD couplers and everything on it. I'll probably run that as well, just to kind of have that one moving this week. So some good purchases. Other things that came in, there's another 25 pounds of Sculptamold. I'll get started doing more scenery. So more than enough to finish up everything on this module, and I'll have a lot left over. Like I said, I'll have to be thinking about how to use that. And then over here, underneath this stuff, even though you can't really see it, here's the template for my On30 bridge. I've got the diagram out. It's cut to the right size. Under here, my chicken scratches show my degrees to cut the angles for both left and right side. So I can take my, already scribed and stained, dowels outside, run them through my miter saw, and I can get them cut to fit from, end to this point to end, and in between. So I'm figuring 3 timbers to get my base, very similar to the first On30 trestle that I built. And then it will have 2 bents, and then of course cross bracing and different things. So that should be coming along in this video too. So a lot of stuff should happen, some small scale things. Now, while I've been gone, everything has dried well. That little damp sheen is no longer on the rocks. Looks nice. So that bridge, That bridge will probably actually be the first thing that I start. I at least want to get the deck in so I've got some support for my track so I can run it. Those bents will line up here so they don't have to go down very far before, I'm on the rock. Same thing over here, a bent about there, goes down, and really it's right there. I don't have to worry about a center one, which goes down, 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 down. So this should not take that long to put together. So let me get started. I've already rambled for over 5 minutes, but let's make some progress this week. I'm making a little progress on that On30 trestle. I have my pieces cut, and I have like the individual sections glued together. Each one of these has a 6.5 degree cut on them, roughly from what I can do with my miter saw. I'm going to glue the pieces together like that, and I have already taken the set of 3 and put them in up here, and they do fit really well into these pockets. If you remember, I've got my plywood, and I added a little chunk of balsa wood underneath to make a little ledge, a little lip. Same on this side. This sits in here, and it's got plenty of room. I can move it around a bit, and I'll build up underneath of it once I get the bents built and everything in place. But I can take all 3 of them out at the same time and put them back in. Hence, I will glue them up on the table. And once I get that done, I'm going to come over it with some weathering materials, just to kind of get rid of, you can see where I've got the cuts and the tear outs. And I'll put that in place, and then I can start to turn my attention to the bents. So that'll be coming up next. So here is how the On30 deck is going to look on that bridge. Old timbers. It's definitely weathered more than the other bridge. My world, this has been here for a while. So next, I will start the process of building the bents. So one right here, one right here. Probably 3 supports kind of going into the back, straight down, slightly off, so not a complicated bridge. And then just some cross bracing here and there, and some kind of coming up, and simple, but it should look pretty nice once I get it done. Yeah, that's gonna work out okay, I think. So show some more when I get a little bit farther along. So a little farther on this, I have my 2 bents starting. I took some stock lumber that I had, used the vinegar solution to kind of gray it up, and then some chalks to kind of get it to match. So I've just super glued those underneath. I'll let that sit for a little bit, and I've got my uprights cooking right now. They had been painted with the vinegar solution. They're still darkening up. I will let them sit for a little while longer. Then I'll dust them with chalk once I get them cut, so that they match up with the browns that I've got here. This gives it the gray, then the chalks give it that final color. So this should be fun. I'm gonna have some interesting anchor points down on this. Make little pockets in the rock, probably like they would do in real life. We'll see how this looks. It should be pretty interesting, kind of coming down and getting those supports in place. But yeah, I'll see what happens here after a while. I'll let the super glue sit for a little bit, and then start cutting the uprights on the bents. Go from there. A little bit later, maybe about 30-40 minutes after the last video segment. So I've got my uprights glued under my bents. I will use some chalks to weather those a little bit more. Once I get the cross pieces put in, you can see a little bit of plaster and sculpt mold. Once I get weathering and other things done, that'll disappear. You can see where I had to kind of carve that cliff face. It's just the angle of that upright. I had to mount it down there and had to kind of chisel away. That'll all go away. So now what I'm going to do is I will come in with the cross bracing, and I've got to look. I might have to make a trip to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or someplace like that to get the right size wood, because I've used pretty much all of the right size wood for those braces when I built this trestle and then the other one that's over there. So I'll get some materials and then continue, but I'm anticipating I will have this bridge pretty well built before the end of the day. So that'll be my Saturday project, and then we'll see what I do for Sunday. But let's kind of come back and take a look. Yeah, that's going to be nice. Once I get the cross bracing put in there, that should look really cool. All right, more to come. So that was a fun little project. I weathered the cross pieces. I ended up taking some that I had and sort of cut them up into different sizes. Put them in there. The cross bracing is in on the vents as much as I can do. So, you know what? I'm happy with that. Definitely is a rustic little bridge. I will weather it up with some chalks to make everything look good. But I'm ready to move on, I think, and do some sculpt-a-mold here in a little bit. Probably what I will do is I'll come back in with the chalks and just kind of touch up on that a little bit before I do sculpt-a-mold. But I'll be moving over here next in this video. Well, a few minutes after that last segment, I came back in with chalks and weathered it up a little bit to give it all a similar appearance. Some weathered boards, kind of going in there. I did a little chalk work around the uprights in a couple of spots. I will come in and I will do additional work on that when I do more scenery, because you can see like right there, it's not even sitting flush. Kind of fill that in a little bit, do some other things in there, kind of pack in around there when I get to that point. But that bridge, yeah, I like how that looks. That fits that scene really well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to run some trains over that pretty quick. So this whole scene is pulling together. All right, time to go do something else. I think I'm going to call it good for this video. I've gotten actually a fair amount done. Looks pretty decent. You can see the train running through that area. Get an idea of how it's going to look once I get scenery more farther along. So I'm going to pick up with the sculpt-a-mold on the next video here. I'll see what I can get done with that. I might be able to do more plaster and rock carving over on this piece, but you know what? That's going to be in the next segment. So with that, keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time. So as I often do, a little bit of bonus video at the end. I have been running my Prairie, the one that has the smoke unit in it. Got about 4 drops of oil in there, very small drops, and I don't think that I'm able to run it long enough to get it hot enough to smoke. I have run this a little while, and I have looked in the stack at the end of the travel, and I can see a hint of smoke, but nothing billowing out, which makes me sad. But still, the engine runs really nice. Has good pulling power, quiet running model. I'm quite happy with the engine here. Everything is doing nice on it. Should be a nice little switch engine, whether or not I can get smoke out of it. And the track has not been cleaned. Just put the engines on and I'm running them, just as you see. And it's been more than a month since I wiped the tracks down lightly when I did the all scale run here a while back. So quite pleased with the track, and the No Ox ID again just continues to perform really well. Let's look at how slow that's going. There we go. All right, so that is it for this one. The New Havens do run as well, but I've got them on a side track and not gonna run them just back and forth. So that's it. Now keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.